What if everything you've searched about losing belly fat online is designed to fail you? Type "how to lose belly fat in 1 week" into YouTube right now, and you'll find a video promising that lemon water alone can melt away stubborn fat. Over 17 million people have watched that claim and believed it. But here's the uncomfortable truth.
It doesn't work that way, and someone who has lived through the real process is about to prove it. Meet Mike Diamonds, a fitness creator who documented his own body transformation over 16 weeks. He started with a high body fat percentage, carrying extra weight around his midsection and legs, areas his genetics made especially stubborn. By the end of those 16 weeks, he had stripped away that fat completely and reached a shredded, lean physique. But instead of just showing off the results, he decided to go back to square one. He deliberately let his body fat rise again so he could film the entire process honestly from the very beginning and show viewers exactly what actually works, not what gets clicks.
This video is meant to be the one place you need to understand belly fat loss without myths or shortcuts. Mike breaks it down into 5 essential pillars: cardio, strength training, nutrition, consistency, which he saves for later in the breakdown, and finally, the practical tips that helped him tighten his waistline.
Each piece builds on the last, so staying with him through all 5 is what makes the difference between information and results. Let's start with cardio, because this is where most people get it wrong. There are 2 forms worth knowing. The first is LISS, or light intensity, steady state cardio, which simply means going for a brisk walk.
The key is consistency and being able to track it, whether that's counting your steps on a phone or measuring the distance you cover. Done regularly, it adds up. But the second form is the one that actually made the biggest difference for Mike personally: HIIT, high-intensity interval training. The concept is simple. You push your heart rate up, then bring it back down, repeatedly. In practice, that means sprinting for 1 minute, then jogging for 1 minute, cycling through that pattern for a full 20 minutes. And there's one more detail that matters. He does this cardio fasted, on an empty stomach, forcing his body to pull energy from stored fat instead of food. That single habit changes everything, and it's just the beginning. Here's something most fitness influencers won't hand you for free: a complete training program built from real results. Many viewers had been asking about the push-pull legs program Mike used throughout his own transformation, the exact plan he relied on to cut down and get lean, and one that plenty of people following along have already tried with great success.
It's called Project Diamonds, and it costs nothing. The only catch is how to get it. Instead of the usual channels, the simplest way is to send a direct message on Instagram with an email address and the words Project Diamonds, and it gets sent over personally. It doesn't matter when someone sees this video. The offer still stands, and every request gets a response.
With training covered, the conversation shifts to the kitchen, because this is where the real transformation happens. There's a saying that gets repeated often in fitness circles. Results are 30% gym, 70% kitchen, and abs are truly made in the kitchen. It took a full year of trial and error to fully understand and accept that truth, but it holds up completely.
Nutrition isn't a side note to fat loss. It's the foundation. The one non-negotiable rule above everything else is maintaining a caloric deficit, consuming fewer calories than the body actually needs. When that deficit exists, the body has no choice but to turn to stored fat cells for the energy it's missing, since that energy has to come from somewhere.
This single principle underpins every other nutrition strategy, no matter how complicated diet advice online tends to sound. Rather than getting lost in every nutritional detail here, the specific foods and meal plans that supported this transformation are laid out separately, available through linked resources for anyone who wants to go deeper into the exact diet that delivered these results.
But watching the meals get prepared firsthand offers a real, practical look at what staying in a caloric deficit actually looks like day to day, not just in theory, but on a plate.
Now, with cardio, training, and nutrition all on the table, it's time to bring everything together and reveal the piece that ties the entire transformation into something sustainable long-term, the part that determines whether all this effort actually pays off or quietly falls apart. Synthesized principles and galvanized reader application.
Synthesized principles and galvanized reader application. What's the one ingredient that makes cardio, training, and nutrition actually count for something? It isn't a secret exercise or a rare food. It's consistency. And without it, none of the first 3 pillars matter at all.
You can have the perfect cardio routine, a flawless training split, and a dialed-in caloric deficit. But if any of it only happens some of the time, the results simply won't show up. This is the piece that quietly separates people who transform their bodies from people who try for a few weeks and give up. And the encouraging part is this: consistency doesn't mean perfection.
If a day gets missed or a meal goes off plan, the answer isn't to abandon the whole effort. It's to pick yourself back up and continue the next day. That mindset alone is often the real difference between success and failure. Then there are the finer details, the practical tips that help tighten the waistline beyond just cardio and diet alone.
The first is a technique called vacuums, an exercise that trains the internal abdominal muscles specifically, the deep core muscles responsible for controlling and pulling in the waistline. Practicing vacuums regularly made a noticeable difference in waist control, something that traditional ab exercises alone don't fully address. The second tip involves training with a weight belt.
Wearing a belt during workouts helped keep the waist compressed and tight throughout each session, and over time, that consistent pressure contributed to a visibly tighter midsection. It's a small adjustment, but one that added up significantly across weeks of training.
Together, these 5 pillars, cardio, weight training, nutrition, consistency, and these targeted waist-tightening techniques form the complete, honest framework for losing belly fat the right way, without shortcuts or gimmicks. And the 1-week transformation captured throughout this process stands as real proof that these principles work when they're actually applied together, not in isolation.
Balancing a demanding schedule while creating content like this hasn't been easy, but delivering real, tested information has remained the priority throughout. For anyone who found value in this breakdown of what actually works for losing belly fat, the next step is simple: call to action.
If this video helped you understand what real, sustainable fat loss actually looks like, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to stay updated on future transformations and honest fitness breakdowns, and drop a comment sharing which of these 5 tips you're going to try first. Don't forget to check the Link Nutrition video if you want to go even deeper into the exact diet behind these results. See you in the next one. Recognize completion and sought clarification on next steps. Recognized completion and sought clarification on next steps. The transcript's full content has already been covered. Cardio, training, ab work, the free program offer, nutrition, consistency, and the waist-tightening tips were all folded into closed with the recap and call to action, matching how the original video wraps up.
There isn't additional source material left to build a genuine from without repeating what's already been said or adding content that wasn't in the original transcript. If you'd like, I can. Redistribute the existing content across 5, truly even parts rebalancing word counts so nothing repeats, and the CTA lands only at the very end. Or
Treat what I gave as the final structure, since that's where the source material naturally divides. Or, if you have additional transcript content I haven't seen, paste it and I'll continue seamlessly from where Part 4 left off.